Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of July, basically, and the books for Book of the Month for August are live. So I want to look at that since I just got home from work. So let's dive right into it. Seems like there's 5 options. So the first one is Seduction Theory by Emily Adrian, literary fiction. I really like the cover, although I feel like the font is kind of blending in a little bit with the cover, but so quick take, struggling with your MFA thesis? Just fictionalize your advisor's real-life marriage issues and enjoy the fallout. Oh my gosh. That seems like a crazy premise. So there's a love triangle, marriage issues, salacious, and academic. So Simone is the star of Edwards University's creative writing, renowned Wolf scholar, grief memoirist, and campus sex icon. Her less glamorous and ostensibly devoted husband Ethan is a forgotten novelist and lecturer in the same department. But when Ethan and the department administrative assistant Abigail have sex, Simone and Ethan's faith in their flawless marriage is rattled. Simone has secrets of her own. While Ethan's away for the summer, she becomes inordinately close with her advisee, graduate student Roberta Robbie Green. In Robbie, Simone finds a new running partner, confidant, and disciple, or so she believes. Behind Simone's back, Robbie fictionalizes her mentor's marriage and a breathtakingly invasive MFA thesis. Determined to tell her version of the story, Robbie paints a revealing portrait of Simone, Ethan, Abigail, and even herself, scratching at the very surface of what may or may not be the truth. That sounds super messy. No content warnings. I don't know, I really like the cover, but I'm not sure I would get that. Next is a young adult. I feel like there haven't been young adults in a while. But All the Tomorrows After, which is a debut by Joanne Yee. I like the cover of that too. A teenage girl strikes an unusual bargain with her estranged father in this poignant, heartbreaking novel. Emotional, sad, coming of age, and family drama. I don't know, emotional and sad, I'm still not in the mood for. Maybe I will never be in the mood for it. They changed the why they chose it too. That's like very different from when they did it last month. I wonder if that's AI or something. I don't know. That seems a little weird that it's like totally different. So let's see. Each night, Winter Moon counts her earnings, dreaming of escape. Once she's saved enough, she and her grandmother can finally take flight and disappear. But when her spiteful mother steals her money and blows through it all in one day, Winter is forced to turn to a estranged father who recently reappeared in her life after being absent for more than a decade. They agree upon a simple contract. She spends time with him in exchange for payment. It's not easy reconciling the past and the present, though, and when she's struck with a sudden loss, Winter flounders in grief and rage. The only person offering a hand is June, the new boy at school who sees Winter when no one else does. When Winter discovers a secret her father has been keeping from her, things get even more complicated. As she navigates grief, first love, and forgiveness, Winter begins to forge connections, new and old, that make her question her future, her conviction to disappear, what it really means to be family. Winter knows that broken things can never be fixed, but can they come back together in a different way? So it does contain scenes depicting child abuse. I know that sounds really good, maybe, but I don't know if I would buy it, but I might add it to my library wish list. So this is true crime. I feel like they don't have that very often at all. The Man No One Believed, which is a debut by Joshua Sharp. So it says the untold story of the Georgia church murders. I might have to get this just to do it on my podcast with my brother. Shout out for that. It's the Paranoid Perspective podcast that you can listen to anywhere, which we do true crime stories or mysteries and conspiracies. Just a side note. But for this, it says the true story of a grisly murder, the man falsely accused of the crime, and the journalist fighting to set him free. Oh, wow. Oh, it's the 80s. That's why I haven't heard of this. Underdog, social issues, and unsettling. In 1985, a white man walked into a South Georgia church and brutally murdered Harold and Thelma Swain, two pillars of the area's black community. The killer vanished into the night. For 15 years, the case remained unsolved. Then authorities zeroed in on Dennis Perry, a carpenter who grew up nearby. Convicted with devastatingly flawed evidence, Perry received a double life sentence. Wow. When award-winning journalist and South Georgia native Joshua Sharp retraces the case, he discovers a winding path of corruption, devastating missteps, and secrets. Driven by the pursuit of the truth, Sharp's investigation takes him through dusty courthouse archives, down winding dirt roads, and into intense interviews. But he keeps knocking on doors even after they're slammed in his face. Sharp uncovers explosive evidence that helps prove Dennis Perry's innocence, and he confronts a long-ignored suspect, an alleged white supremacist who had bragged about committing the murders. Wow. They have someone bragging about committing the murders, and then they still put this guy behind bars? Did they not even investigate him at all? But the fight for the truth is not easily won when a key figure in the investigation turns up dead under suspicious circumstances. Sharp sources and editors insist that he could be in danger. And even as evidence mounts of Perry's innocence, local officials work to keep him in prison until Sharp's reporting forces the state to launch a new investigation, 35 years after the Swains murders. Wow. Driven by Sharp's tireless reporting, the man no one believed tells the unbelievable story of one of the most confounding cases in Georgia history, the extraordinary fight to free an innocent man, and how state officials worked against the odds to deliver justice for the Swains after all. I think I need to get this. It says it contains mentions of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and suicide. Wow, I need to look into that case at least, if not get this book, but let's see, next option, if it'll load, Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. It's a thriller, so early release, and it says three-peat author, so they've had her on other times, but her sister vanished years earlier. Now a hidden diary may have answers, but does she really want to uncover the truth? Psychological, creepy, slow build, and rural. 22 years ago, Claire Campbell's older sister Natalie disappeared shortly after her 18th birthday. Days later, her blood was found in a car, a man was arrested, and the case was swiftly closed. In the decades since, Claire has attempted to forget her traumatic past by moving to the city and climbing the ranks as an investigative journalist, until an unexpected call from her father forces her to come back home and face it all anew. With the entire summer now looming ahead, a summer spent with nothing to do in her childhood home with her estranged mother, Claire decides on a whim to accept a seasonal job at Galloway Farm, a muscadine vineyard in coastal South Carolina, less than an hour away from where she grew up. At first glance, Galloway is an idyllic escape for Claire, a scenic retreat full of slow-paced nostalgia, as well as a place where her sister seemed truly happy in that last summer before she vanished. It feels like the perfect plan to pass the time. However, as soon as Claire starts to settle in, she stumbles across an old diary written by one of the vineyard's owners, and what at first seems like a story of young rebellion and love turns into something much more sinister as it begins to describe details of various unsolved crimes. Whoa. The killer has a diary? As the days stretch on, Claire finds herself becoming more and more secluded as she starts to obsess over the diary's contents, as well as the lingering feeling that her own sister's disappearance may be somehow tied to it all. Galloway was supposed to be a place to hide to help her move forward, but instead Claire quickly finds herself immersed in her own dark and dangerous past. So other books were A Flicker in the Dark, All the Dangerous Things, and Only If You're Lucky. I haven't read any of her books. But that does sound interesting. I don't know if I would buy it, though. So last option is Fantasy Immortal Consequences, which is a debut by Ivy Marie. Limited edition option for $3 more. That is very pretty. I wish they had like other views of it. Now it's kind of hard to see the cover, but there's no eternal rest at Blackwood Academy, and to escape, 6 students must face trials that are deadlier than ever. Hmm. 400 plus pages, multiple viewpoints, LGBTQ plus themes, and magical. Welcome to Blackwood Academy, the legendary school located on the fringes of the afterlife. Once a pupil enters the academy's arched gates, there's no way out, except for the decennial, a once-in-a-decade celebration in which a single worthy student is tested and given a choice. Graduate and join Blackwood's magical elite or cross over to the mysterious other side. This time, though, the rules have changed. This decennial isn't a celebration, it's a competition, and there can only be one victor. So it's like Hunger Games. I don't know. There's been a lot of books that have this theme now of like competition and only one person can survive at like an academy. Two academic arch rivals whose strange connection blurs the lines between obsession and hate, one girl driven solely by ambition and another plagued by memories of the love she lost, and a charming playboy who never cared for anyone until he met the academy's newest student. Each of these 6 students has their own motivation to win and their own secret to hide. But none of them know they aren't the only ones playing Blackwood's game, and if they lose, some fates are worse than death. No content warnings. I don't know, that just sounds like a lot of other books that I've read recently, so I probably wouldn't get that. I'm leaning towards this true crime one, but let's look at the add-ons as well. New add-ons. Let's see. I feel like I already talked about that one. Is that new? Yeah, I think I already talked about that one. So there's only 2 new add-ons, I guess. First is Fantasy by Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. I did not know there was another new book coming out for T. Kingfisher, so I might get that, but let's see. So step inside the mirror on the wall in this delightfully dark and poisonous Snow White retelling. I don't know if I'm interested in Snow White retelling, but based on a classic puzzle, quirky and magical. Oh, know why they picked it. So, healer Anya regularly drinks poison, not to die but to save, seeking cures for those everyone else has given up on. But a summons from the king interrupts her quiet, herb-obsessed life. His daughter Snow is dying, and he hopes Anya's unorthodox methods can save her. Aided by a taciturn guard, a narcissistic cat, and a passion for the scientific method, Anya rushes to treat Snow, but nothing seems to work. That is, until she finds a secret world hidden inside a magic mirror. This dark realm may hold the key to what is making Snow sick, or it might be the thing that kills them all. Is that the Snow White? Like a hidden world inside a mirror? I need to know. I don't know the original Snow White, but oh, it does contain mentions of the death of a child. So there's content warning with this. I don't know, it sounds a little interesting, but I'm not sure I'd add it as an add-on. So the other option is the Book of Lost Hours, which is a debut and early release by Haley Gelfuso, and it's historical fantasy. After meeting in a magical library, 2 lovers are torn apart when the Cold War finds a new battleground, time itself. What? Are they time traveling or something? Beside fantasy. Multiple viewpoints, forbidden love, non-linear timeline, and movie-ish. I haven't read many books set during the Cold War, but I'm also wondering how is the fantasy going to play into this? Enter the time space, a soaring library filled with books containing the memories of those who have passed and accessed only by specially made watches once passed from father to son, but mostly now in government hands. This is where 11-year-old Lisavette Levy finds herself trapped in 1938, waiting for her watchmaker father to return for her. When he doesn't, she grows up among the books and specters, able to see the world only by sifting through the memories of those who came before her. As she realizes that government agents are entering the time-space to destroy books and maintain their preferred version of history, she sets about saving these scraps in her own volume of memories. Until the appearance of an American spy named Ernest Duquesne in 1949 offers her a glimpse of the world she left behind, setting her on a course to change history and possibly the time-space itself. In 1965, 16-year-old Amelia Duquesne is mourning the disappearance of her Uncle Ernest when an enigmatic CIA agent approaches her to enlist her help in tracking down a book of memories her uncle had once sought. But when Amelia visits this time space for the first time, she realizes that the past and the truth might not be as linear as she'd like to believe. Oh, that sounds like a really interesting concept. This book does contain mentions of suicide and the death of a child. I don't know, I might add this on, but I might just get it from the library. But as far as the actual books go, I think I'm going to get this true crime because I've never heard of this. And then also I can do research for my podcast. But also, where's the if you don't like these books? Yeah, so you can also choose a member fave. And these change almost every month for me, and I'm wondering if they're the same for everyone, or is it just based on like what I have liked? But maybe it's the same choices for everyone for the month if you don't like it, the main picks. But let me know if that's the case because I am curious if it's different for different users. But that'll be it for this month, I guess. A little shorter video. But I have other content on my blog, notesfromtheshelf.com, if you want to check it out there. I update there usually twice a week, sometimes 3 times if I'm putting like a bonus post, but a lot of my content is there. So go check that out if you want some more, and I'll work on doing more videos soon. But with work and other stuff, it's just been slower going than I thought it would be, but I'll catch everyone next month if I don't post before then, and hopefully everyone has a good August.